Yo, so let's kind of just get back into the spirit of what this thing was supposed to be about in the first place,
right?
Which was relationship culture.
Okay.
And it's going to be a couple of different parts to this because you can't really wrap up relationship culture all into one.
It'll be hit and miss.
and so I think the reason why we kind of got stuck on the Will and Jada thing is because we really wanted to start with what do you all black women mean to the culture? Like, what is your role in the culture? Like, what is your responsibility? What are you guys doing?
I mean, we take, we play a lot of roles. We're moms, we're sisters, we're daughters, we're, nurturers, we're wives, we're, organizers, we're, just a lot of things. We play a huge role. We're always mostly seen in the role of nurturing and the caring roles, the more soft roles, but we're also more than just nurturing. We're disciplinarians too.
Okay.
Because some of us have to be.
Okay. So far you've been giving me what you all are as women. Whereas I really want to focus more on what do you guys mean to the advancement of black people? Like what is y'all's job in the movement? Like what have y'all done in the past? What are you currently doing now?
I mean, a lot of times we've been seen as in supporting roles.
Okay.
Supporting, because a lot of times the movement has been, or I won't say just supporting roles, it's been publicized as supporting roles of the men that were leaders. We've been, there keeping the books and keeping the tabs and, running to, but women have played a crucial role in the forward movement of us as a culture and a people. Because we led a lot of our own movements. But things can get a little dicey because, a lot of times the woman's movement has
superseded the black movement.
Yeah. So whereas things have become, or things were to the advancement of women, it wasn't necessarily
to the advancement of black people as a whole.
Exactly.
Which ultimately means not to the advancement of the black man.
Right. So feminism and all of that, right? So the feminist movement and, women rights and which are things that are very important and very much needed, but I don't think that they have to be done at the expense
of the black
man. Because, our black men are crucial to our overall movement. When we realize how important we are to each other, when we realize that at the end of the day, your black women are here for you, right? We're going to support y'all. We're going to, have y'all's back, at least I am. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't even think we got enough time.
And that's why this ain't gonna be a one part type of situation. It's gonna take us a little while to get through it.
And then some stuff you want to say, can I say it all? You know what I'm saying?
See, this is the thing, and I think this is the reason how come relationship culture is probably one of the more important topics we can even talk about when it comes to agriculture, because
how we deal with each other.
The root of the
demise.
overall culture
Yeah.
starts with the relationship culture between the black man and the black woman.
Right.
And then it goes even further than that.
Right, because the reason that the whole protecting the Jada thing came into play was because for so long, we as black women feel collectively that we weren't supported by our black men like we should be collectively.
Right.
Right? We're degraded publicly, in the music and stuff. The culture of, beauty standards and what somebody got to look like to be able to rock with you. And, what I'm saying? Like, a lot of stuff, like, we've been hung out to dry. And then, what's the thing with, like, when we get successful and...
Then you take off and get a white woman.
Yeah. Okay. Like, what does that do for us? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we play a part in the culture when stuff like that happens?
So tell me this. Do you think that years and years of watching things like that play out then lend itself to black women kind of saying,
to heck with that.
Right.
I'm for me, because that's really what it is. Let me focus on me. Let me focus on empowering myself. Let me focus on my sisters. And we going to get there, and we going to get a bag. And then it's sad because a lot of times there are a lot of, there's become a wealth of successful women. Mm-hmm. And they end up single, even though there are a lot of them that do want relationships and do want to have children. They find themselves alone, right?
Right.
Because now I've gotten to this level and my men don't match. So...
And that's
a whole nother
because
topic to...
Because this is the thing. Because in my opinion, and not just my opinion, but in my talking with other brothers too, a lot of times the black women don't even realize that how systematically those things have been implemented
to allow for that.
To paint this picture for the black woman that the black man is not an equal. So
not an equal to her?
Not an equal to her. And so if as a black woman you don't see the black man as an equal to you, then you lose respect for him.
Yeah.
And if you lose respect for him, then he's no longer a necessity.
Right.
Which to me becomes a weird situation, because all at the same time that a black woman can become successful, lose respect for the black man as a whole, then she has to raise a black son, and what is he supposed to believe? What is he supposed to think of himself as his successful black mother lives a life that lends itself to not respecting or thinking that the black man is equal to her? So I don't understand how those things work. And it goes vice versa as well. How does the black man degrade the black woman?
Right.
She's not worth this, she's not worth that, but then you got 3-4 daughters.
Black daughters.
And you don't want nobody to treat them the way that you've been treating black women.
People's daughters.
Exactly.
Right. I don't know. I think, like I said, when we realize how important we are to each other, when we realize how much more we can do together as a whole, versus allowing outside influences or whatever to keep us from reaching those places together. Because, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
It's loaded.
It's definitely loaded.
I'm biting my tongue.
But no, I don't want you to bite your tongue.
Yeah.
Well, because this is the thing. Even that's a bad part of the culture.
I know.
Is the biting the tongue. Because if you don't say it, if no other woman says it, then what's going on continues. We keep on going through the same cycle over and over and over again, because those of us who know better never say, you know what, right. To heck with it. Somebody has to say it.
Right.
But I don't know, man. Over the last couple of years, I've had a lot of conversations with guys who just feel completely betrayed by black women altogether.
And I think the feeling of betrayal has been mutual. And I think that's what we don't realize. Like, y'all feel like we're not supporting y'all. We feel like y'all don't support us. Not you but you know,
right.
In general or whatever. Like, you know, I don't know, because like I said, when y'all get successful, you know, the top of the list, the things that you have is the big house, the fast car, the white woman. Like, you haven't arrived until you have your white woman. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's like, and then like even with stuff like your NBA players in the sports arenas, right? Mm-hmm. There's like a whole like community of a certain type of woman that they have
almost like
surrounding
being
them,
breeded
almost breeded specifically for them, right?
So let's talk about this then. What is it? What is it about us that seeks a validation?
Because we've been told white is right our entire lives.
But here we are in the year 2022. Advanced as a people. Access to so much information.
But we're still not as advanced.
And you mean to tell me we still believe that white is right?
We have more money, but we ain't as advanced as we think we are.
You mean to tell me all these YouTube videos, all of the documentaries,
listen,
and we still don't believe in our own worth?
I believe we're getting closer to realizing who we are. And I believe we're getting closer to realizing that we're beautiful, that we are smart and intelligent, that we have so much to offer. I believe we're getting a heck of a lot closer, but I think there's so much damage that has been done thus far that we got to figure out how to reach back and like fix whatever it is that's divided us as a people, because we're divided as a people.
Okay.
So when you're divided as a people, the foundation is cracked.
Absolutely.
Right? There's a crack in the foundation. We keep allowing other things to go in and fill the cracks instead of.
All right. So I'm gonna take a little bit of a turn here, right? Because I do want to stay in this, you know, what is the black woman's role area, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm gonna hit you with some questions. Is it okay for a black woman to date a black man who doesn't, who's not in the same financial bracket as her?
I believe that's absolutely up to her.
So then tell me this.
Because I don't think your financial bracket is the end all be all. Because you can make money and treat me like crap. You can make money and not be a true provider. You can make money and use it as a tool to entrap me.
But for years,
to control me.
But for years, that's been the thing.
And for years, that's been going on too.
If you ain't got this and you ain't got that, then you
can't come empty-handed.
Okay, so now you
can't come empty-handed, but do we have to make the same money? Do you have to make more than me? I don't feel like that's as important as we treat each other as equal human beings.
Now as a man's man
that we each need to meet.
I want to make sure that everybody's clear about this. As a man's man, I agree with you. I don't believe that I should show up empty-handed.
Absolutely.
But humor me for a second.
Okay.
For the guys out there who say, well, for years, women have shown up empty-handed, and it's been a... Come on now.
Okay, so but society, the way society was set up, right? Uh-huh. You guys worked, women were at home.
Okay.
Men worked, women were at home. Men worked, went out, worked all day, women were at home, taking care of the house, taking care of the kids, make sure he had something hot to eat when he got home.
Okay.
That was the standard. That was the cultural norm.
But think about this, though. You all, and when I say this, I don't mean you.
I know.
I mean, black women, along with other women, helped create and shape a new social norm that called for women to go out and work.
See,
yeah.
but we had to work.
No.
We did.
No, you went and you burned your bras and you told everybody, I'm turning in my apron to go get on the assembly line.
We had
you
to
said
work.
You want to work.
A lot of women had to work when war happened, right? The men were off at war. Women had to get in
when
the
war was over, you were supposed to go back to the kitchen. She decided,
you know what, I can do more than just making cakes and pancakes and grits and eggs. I can contribute more to society.
And guess what? I have no problem with women working.
Right.
But I do want to know what goes into the mindset of women who, once they do get out into the workforce, once they start, making a little money and, elevating themselves, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Why does that come with an air of, well, since I'm doing this and doing that, then I'm no longer responsible for household stuff. I'm no longer responsible for being the nurturer in my household. No longer responsible.
I don't know if it feels like what you're not responsible for anymore, but it's definitely, you don't feel like I should be the only one. Mm. Because when that dynamic was the cultural norm where you went and worked and I was home, you ain't doing nothing else.
Right.
So that's your job.
So
that was her work. Her work was in the home. Now her work is outside the home. When she comes home, I shouldn't be doing the only work, because part of the work that I'm doing outside of the home is contributing to what's in the home too.
So this becomes more of a issue of balance in both parties.
Balance.
Realizing that there's a new social norm and everybody
together,
having to adjust.
We have to make a new norm. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's talk this.
Okay.
Interracial dating.
You want to go there?
What is the black woman's responsibility? Or I don't even know how to really even word this. How does that work in us moving forward as a culture? I know this is probably one of the most trickiest ones.
Let me tell you. Okay, so
come on, keep it 1,000.
Okay, so I don't have a problem with people doing what works for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't have a problem with interracial dating. I don't think anybody's gonna, perish because they mixing races and all that good stuff. Because I've literally had somebody tell me that.
It sounds like I hear a but coming.
For me.
As for me in my house,
I've had the experience, and I don't believe that's something that I don't recommend. I don't even know how to. I had a horrible experience, and it goes beyond just personality differences and the things that happen when you're dating people and y'all just don't mix. Mm-hmm. It goes even further than that, because there are some fundamental differences that if you're not me and you're not from my struggle, you're not from you don't have to deal with.
You're not from my culture.
You're not from my culture. Then you don't understand. You can't understand. You can't even fathom what it's like to be me.
That reminds me of when Denzel Washington was talking about culture. I think him and the cast of Fences were together, and he was just talking about how any great writer can write a great story or a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
But when you identify with the culture,
yeah, It's totally different.
Like you can tell when somebody.
Because it's in the details.
Right.
It's in the smallest little details, the details that's subconscious that you don't even have to think about.
We don't even have to talk about.
You don't even have to talk about. It's just there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so I was in an interracial relationship, and gosh, the red flags were so there. And I ignored a lot of it because I'm gonna be honest with you. I was in an environment where, let's just say, I went to a basically predominantly white school.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. My interracial relationship was with a white person. And in my predominantly white school, all of the boys that looked like me were going after the white girls.
Okay.
And so it kind of felt like
how dare you?
What's wrong with us? Like, you know, like what?
So did it then became? Oh, well, you ain't the only one who can do that.
You ain't right, right. And hello, I'm in high school. I'm a kid, so that was part of my thinking, part of my thought process. This guy reaches out to me and he wants to talk to me, and I'm like, well, why not? You know, like, why not? Let's give this a try or whatever. And like over the course of that situationship, like I learned a whole lot. Because it's one thing, because me, I'm a naturally loving person. Mm-hmm. I'm a naturally like open person. So I have lots of friends that are whites, that are Indian, that are, you know, Hispanic, that all kinds of cultures. So I never looked at it like, you know,
that was a problem.
Yeah, I never looked at it like, and especially the whole, you know, you grow up learning about the slavery thing and learning about racism and all of that, but like unless you specifically experience that, it doesn't really resonate as much.
Right.
Unless you actually experience it. And so in the course of my relationship, I experienced racism from my partner.
Wow.
And I didn't understand for the life of me, like, what the heck? And then, like, it only came out when he was angry. And then it would go so far as to, where he told me, like, his parents told him that he was going to burn in hell because he mixing races.
Wow.
And he told me that. He was like, we're going to hell anyway. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, what? And he literally told me that.
So,
and
like, why are we doing this in the first place?
I was like, so, if this was your ideology, why you ain't run that by me before we got knee deep? Because, what? Like, really? And so, like, I experienced, you know, calling me the N-word, just saying any and everything, you know, and it was, like, one of the toughest things that I dealt with, because I really felt like at that point at the stage that I was at, I really felt like I was in love. Mm-hmm. I was in the relationship and I was there for it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was committed. I was true to it. And this person ended up being a total abuser, alienated me from all my friends, eventually from my family. Like, you know, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was a crazy situation. And for me, that's not something that I would ever, on top of, you know, just us being of different cultures and having different understandings, like, he doesn't even acknowledge the fact that the kids that he has with black women, because that's all he dates, he doesn't even acknowledge that they're black. And that's weird to me. Very strange. And so
obviously I've never been in a situation like that, but I do have close relationships with people, with white people and other races as well. Yeah. And so even like my best friend in high school.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing. For me, what I just started to realize more often than not is when there are situations where we as black people are really, really hurt and racism is at the core of it, I just can tell that we ain't on the same wavelength.
We're not.
And it's not.
And a lot of times it's because I have, like I said, I have white friends, or I have, people of different cultures that are my friends, and there are some that when it's going down, they're like, we're not standing for it. Like, this is not okay. Like, I'm with you. I'm standing in solidarity. Like, what can I do? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But there are others that ain't gonna say nothing. And I have to wonder what that silence is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And so then it's for somebody like me, then it makes me always say,
because I know myself, I'm not gonna stand by and allow somebody to wrong you. If you're my friend, if you're my family, we're together, we're whatever, and something's not right, I'm gonna say something. Period. You're not gonna do that in my presence. I'm not gonna condone it. I'm not
saying it is condoning.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna make you think I condone it. So those that I have encountered that really don't have anything to say, or they want to justify why it was done, or
what am I supposed to think? You make
light of it, like
But
and so I can.
I think there's a group of people out there that kind of share this sentiment with me, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong in this, but because of situations like that, I kind of took on the thought process of, since I can't be sure, I ain't messing with it.
That's and it's tough. It's so tough because
so how crazy is that to love somebody, to lay down in the bed with somebody at night, to be willing to ride or die for somebody, and you don't even know that somewhere deep down in their heart, somewhere in the back of their mind, that they view you as something other than a person. They looking at your skin as something different. They viewing you maybe as an animal and not a person. You don't even really know what the thought process is, and it takes an
anger. Do you think somebody can be dating somebody and view them as an animal or something?
Absolutely. I mean, okay, so you just
because I'm gonna say my experience is my experience, but there are lots of people that are successfully having interracial relationships. So,
and like I said,
I wouldn't know because I haven't had one.
Like I said, for me, it ain't about those who are having a successful relationship. All I know is, when you see even one time that somebody's in a relationship with somebody, but then at the same time you can turn around and call them a nigga, you can turn around and call them trash,
with the hard ER on the back.
Exactly. Think that us being together is gonna take us to hell. And like you said, you said you were in that situation. I tried to stay away from this, but I grew up in a household where my parents, my dad and my stepmother were in an interracial relationship. And for them to get into an argument and all of a sudden I hear, "You nigga, you white trash." Like, I'm like, whoa.
What
how we here?
Doing? Yeah.
Why we?
How we get here?
Why we in a relationship? Why we having kids together? Why we doing all of this together if that's even possible?
Right.
And when you see something like that, it makes you just say, you know what?
I don't want no parts of it.
And it ain't even about whether or not I think it's right or wrong.
Right.
It then becomes more of a protective mechanism. Like, I'm not even finna put myself in a situation where that's possible.
Even in that, like, maybe it's not your partner that feels that way, but you got to deal with the family,
the parents, the
grandparents, the aunts.
And let's be honest about it. 9 times out of 10, when you get into the family aspect of it, if there's anybody that's living that's over a certain age, that comes from a certain era,
they not with it.
You know they ain't with it.
Yeah.
Now, they may have learned to get to the point of, in this,
not saying anything.
Yeah, not being vocal and open about it.
Still, why do you want to? You don't want to even put yourself in that situation.
Come on, man. The family cookout don't feel the same.
Yeah.
It just don't.
And I'm gonna tell you, because it's weird for me, because for him to even tell me that that's how he was taught, what he was taught, like, I never would have known anything like that, because they've always embraced me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To this day, they still embrace me. You know what I'm saying?
And ain't that scary too?
It's very,
ain't it scary to think?
Scary, because like, if you're walking around thinking I'm damned to hell because here I am and I'm mixed breed.
But in my face. Yeah. You're smiling and telling me you love me.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to think then?
Right. Yeah. It's a very, very tricky situation. Very, very. And you know, I ain't never said that out loud. So podcast world, agriculture, y'all done did it. Y'all brought it out to me. Brought it out of me. Sheesh.